This is awkward occurrence for awkward entertainment. So I'm going to be getting into Brian Laundrie's notebook, how his body was supposedly allegedly found, and I'm going to take a viewer's comment. Well, a comment she left under a different video from this one. So let's give it a second for people to come in. And if you're watching this on replay, I guess just fast forward it 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Let's give it a second. All right, let's get this started. Like I said, this is awkward occurrence or awkward entertainment. So, police did a conference today. Was this today? Before the body was identified at Brian Laundrie's, FBI did a press conference yesterday, and police did a press conference this morning. During the police press conference this morning, all they did was thank one another. They did not answer any questions about who the body was, this, that, or the third. Again, they did this conference before news came out. It was Brian Laundrie's body indeed. FBI did a conference wrapping up this whole show yesterday when the human remains were found. So that tells you, the viewer, that indeed, before they identified his body, it was his body, with these press conferences going on before the dental records even come back. Alright, let's get into this video. This officer on screen, don't know his name. I just thought this was an interesting picture of him at the press conference. Let's continue. I'm not going to play the press conference video because WFAL may put a copyright claim against it. I'm not monetized, but I don't want anybody making money off my video because I don't make money off of it. But let's continue. Now, Mr. Laundrie's body was found partially intact and skeletal remained. So partially intact and partially without flesh. That's what that means. Skeletal remains, no flesh, partially intact. Now this is a picture of hunters. They killed the alligator. They had to open up the alligator to retrieve a man's arm. So this man got attacked by an alligator. It took his arm off. I don't know why the man wanted his arm back. I don't know if they sewed his arm back on. But this is just to show you the damage an alligator can do to a human. Now, Mr. Laundrie's body, again, it was without flesh. Part of it had no skin, no flesh. This tells me his body was in that water for weeks. Wildlife, alligators, whatever animal was eating on them. That's what that says. I mean, the water didn't take his body, take his flesh and melt it off his skin. He wasn't an acid. So it was animals that ate him, or a animal, more than likely a gator, that ate him. Or that was eating on him for lunch, dinner for a couple of weeks. Let's continue. This is just to show you how big gators can get. This is a very huge monster of a gator. It's scary as shit. Excuse my language. This is just scary. I don't know if the gators in Carson Reserve can grow to be this big. But if Mr. Laundrie was hiding out at the reserve, maybe it was raining, he was walking through the swamp, he got attacked by a gator. I don't believe he committed suicide in the reserve by jumping in the swamp to be eaten. That's some people's theory. I theorized in earlier videos him and Gabby Petito had a suicide pact, but that was a long shot. I just threw it out there. Let's continue. That's a pretty big gator. So there's going to be more pictures of gators. There's more pictures of how these gators can grow and attack. Now, human skeletal remains. This is just an idea of what human skeletal remains look like. Without any flesh on them. Nothing at all. So just imagine... I'm going to get to the next picture and tell you what to imagine. Let's continue. Now just imagine this is Mr. Laundrie's body, but the legs, the waist, halfway up to the stomach has skin, and the other half doesn't have skin. So skeletal remains, partially intact body. Just imagine waist, butt, legs, that still has skin and meat. Everything above the waist, no skin and meat. Let's continue. This is just examples. More examples of skeletal human remains. Again, if it was skeletal, it was partially intact, skin ripped off, animals were chewing on it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack. All right, let's get into the notebook. Let's jump right into the notebook. I've never seen this movie, but it has something to do with Mr. Laundrie's notebook because it's named Notebook. Now, I would be amazed if this backpack that was found wasn't just torn up from the water, just torn up from other animals in the water, other creatures in the water trying to eat it because they thought it was something to eat. I would be amazed if this notebook of Mr. Laundrie's had readable writing. You would think if this notebook was underwater, you wouldn't be able to read anything. If you try to pick it up, it will fall apart in your hands because it's been wet for so long. The pages will rip apart just like that. Now, for the sake of this story, Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie, for the sake of this story, I'm going to say the notebook has writing in it and police are able to understand what the writing says. The notebook didn't fall apart. They emphasize. Now, remember yesterday, they emphasized they found a notebook. They didn't have to say we found a backpack and a notebook. They didn't have to say notebook. They could have just said we found a backpack. They could have just said we found some belongings. Just because they're emphasizing there was a notebook, the notebook is going to tell us what happened to Gabby Petito, what day he went missing, this, that, the third. So did Mr. Laundrie kill his girlfriend? It's looking like it, yes. It's looking like it, yes. Because he's dead in a swamp. She's dead. We have a notebook. Put one together. He killed her. In this notebook, he probably going to state what happened, how it happened, what he was doing in the swamp, for how many ever days he was in the swamp. It's going to be his personal thoughts while he was in the Carlton Reserve. Again, his personal thoughts why he killed Gabby Petito, what happened that day. According to all these news articles, the past 3 weeks, Mr. Laundrie had a temper. He would get angry at Gabby Petito for no obvious reasons. He had mental problems. He heard voices, had sleeping problems. Again, he was on anxiety meds. Anxiety meds will cause you to hear voices and have sleeping problems, depending on your brand of medication. But back to Mr. Laundrie. So, a typical script would say They were arguing in a van parked at Spread Creek. They were arguing. Something ticked him off. He's not that stable in the head, so he started to choke her. Maybe he blacked out when he was choking her. Not when he was choking her. He blacked out when he got mad and started choking her. He took her body out of the van, took it to the spot where Gabby Petito's father said it was, across a creek where he put the rocks at. Mr. Laundrie then maybe went hiking. Let's go back to the hike. August 29th, Mr. Laundrie was hitchhiking back to Spread Creek. That's the night I believe Gabby Petito died. When he got back from his hike, he possibly killed her that night. And he took the van home that night, August 29th. He took the 36-hour trip, returned home on September 1st. That's more than 36 hours, but you have to rest up here and there and drive. So it's very short. It's not too much to explain about the Notebook. It's nothing too exciting to explain about the Notebook. We pretty much got the entire story of what happened that day, just by putting together the news articles from week 1 to now of this case. We pretty much know what happened. Pretty much. You know, he lost his temper and killed her. Now, if you want to add some excitement to this, maybe, let me add some excitement to this. Since mainstream media can't write an exciting script, let me add some excitement. Mr. Laundrie went hiking on the 29th. He wanted to cool off. He had an argument with his girlfriend. While he was hiking, a stranger came by, noticed Gabby Petito in the van. The stranger knocked on the van door, was threatening Gabby. She ran into the woods. The stranger followed her, caught up with her, and choked her to death. Mr. Laundrie came back from his hike. He went to the van, didn't see her in it. He went looking for her, found her body. He then went back to the van. Her stuff was still there. That's how he had a credit card. And he left August 29th that night back to Florida. He got back home to Florida. He didn't tell his parents anything. He probably told them Gabby is with Rose Davis. Gabby is at her friend's house. Or Gabby is off on an adventure with somebody else. We had a big fight, whatever. This couple lived in a condo separate from the family, the parents. So, he continuing this exciting story. He's innocent. He starts getting heat from Gabby's parents and text messages like, "Where's my daughter?" This, that, the third. The parents report her missing on the 11th. On the 13th, he takes his parents' Mustang once protests start happening outside his parents' house. He takes his parents' Mustang, goes to the Carlton Reserve, and tries to hide out in hopes somebody comes forward and say they killed his girlfriend, in hopes some evidence comes forward to clear his name. Before any evidence can come forward to vindicate his name, he's killed by alligators in a swamp trying to hide out. Sounds more exciting than he killed his girlfriend. He comes back home. He goes hiding in his reserve. He's trying to get away. Gets mauled by alligators. That sounds more exciting than what actually happened. All right. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. That's more exciting than what I just stated, or what really happened. Now let's get into this video comment. I'm not going to stay too long on this live stream. And this was under another video about Gabby Petito's body cam footage with the police. Let me pull up that body cam footage. Yeah, this could be more, they could have made it more exciting script, but hey, let's play this.
My dad and my grandpas, they know stuff I don't know.
So I'm going to answer this viewer comment. Then I'm going to end this live stream out and got to do some more research. So Carrie Cohen stated on another video about this body cam footage, the 911 caller and another waitress said Brian Laundrie, was hitting her. What the F? The cops effed up. This is stupid. She was terrified. She doesn't look terrified in this video. Does she look terrified in this video? No. Let's turn it up. I'm going to turn it up. She's calm at this point. She's crying here and there. She wasn't bawling out crying the entire time. She didn't have any mental problems, any emotional problems. If you've seen my video about this footage, she stated she wanted to be with Brian. She didn't want to separate from him. If she was terrified of this man, if she was terrified in this situation, she would have never stuck with him. She would have went home to New York. She would have never stuck with this man. Like, really. She would have left him at the grocery store while they were in Utah and drove back home. Like, babe, I want to go to the store. She would have took over the wheel, stayed in the car, and drove off and left him. Let's continue. Terrified, right? He was joking around. I don't know if she's saying I was joking around. The officer in the video did state witnesses saw her hit him. They were outside a grocery store. Witnesses say they saw her hit him first. Then he, I guess, put his hand on her cheek. He got into the van, locked the door on her. His window was rolled down. She tried to climb through his window to get in the car. I believe she made it in the car through the window, and that's when this whole thing got started with the police. Let's continue. Now, she states people like me, people like you shouldn't be on social media. So let me start from the beginning. The 911 caller and another witness said he was hitting her, which would be false, even though there's an article out there. What the F? The police fucked up. This is stupid. She was terrified. He was joking around. People like you should be banned from social media. I told her she should be banned from social media by Karen. You're just a Karen. No one cares, Karen. People like you shouldn't watch social media. If you tell someone they should be banned from social media, you're trampling on their free speech. And you shouldn't be a part of social media. You really shouldn't. At all. So I just wanted to address that comment, and I'm going to end this video out by watching this. Once again, I'm going to watch this.
My dad and my grandpas, they know stuff I don't know, right? They can do stuff I don't know. So in a way, I'm just letting you know that we sympathize with you. But based on what you've said, and based on what our witnesses said, and even based on what your fiance has mentioned, trying his very hardest not to have you in any trouble, he does have marks.
Oh, she looks so terrified. Oh, she looks so terrified. Look like she has a mental illness.
Even you say you slapped him and were aggressing him first. And I don't have anyone saying that he actually punched you aggressively. It sounds like it was shoving in a manner that was probably more consistent with trying to prevent you from entering the van or to get space from you, not to assail you. Does that make sense? So, if the tables were turned and he was beating on you and you were shoving him, of course we're going to look at it like, oh, of course he's defending himself to get away from this guy. Well,
all right, this has been Awkward Occurrence with Awkward Entertainment, and I will see you in the next video.
I'm looking at the same way with him, and we have to treat both fair, even if he's a bigger male and you're a smaller female. The law doesn't say, hey, Officer Pratt and Officer Robbins, you can treat people different based on gender under the same, so we can't. Even if it makes no sense that you probably could not physically destroy this man the way that he could if he attacked